It is I, Zagos. Zagos is a interesting name. It's from another game. Copyright definitely not intended, but rather the likeness of a character reminds me of another character. And that's simply why I chose the name, the very unique Zagos. Lord of all, sees all, knows all, Zagos. I am Zagos. And this is part 2 of the Elder Scrolls Morrowind Marathon. After all, it will be a marathon. No, sir. Long gone are the days in games of shoot 'em ups, take 'em downs, high thrills and adventures. Well, no, this game's all chock full of adventures. But what this game's really about is an unfolding of a story, brought to you by the modern wave of technology, which I'm pleased to utilize to the fullest to get to you. I hope that the quality's doing okay. I'll have to check it up on the end of the stream. And trust me, it's not going to be completely commentary, as Morrowind is very much a game of immersion. Of which, well, I'm going to have to charge that one. Okay, so that might take a little bit longer. Let's see this device here. I'm just trying to get some other things set up here so that I could chat with anybody. I can't exactly alt-tab out of the game for obvious reasons. My mods will poop on me. So instead what I intend on doing is getting as much of you know what, I just actually might need to redo no, you know what, it's okay. We're gonna do it live. It's okay. There we are. Yes, hello, me. I mean, just I'm viewing the content on a different screen here, so that I can also get chat and a few other features that just get a little bit harder to interact with because the alt tab issue. I could go borderless. I think it's even. I do believe it's even in some kind of borderless mode. No, it's full screen. I'm using the MG Magic or graphics extender. It's all in a mod list, neatly compacted somewhere in the description. But it's a very, very easy installer. Just follow the instructions that it provides with you, and you might need to install it last, considering on what kind of other mods that you incorporate. I try to just go as vanilla as possible, without a patch for Pyrrhus. Just Morrowind in all its glory, right? But with definitely some new details to it. So, and there's lots of details to explore. Look at that water, isn't it beautiful? Alright, this is Morrowind Part 2.
Any time now.
That fetcher, you damn right I did him in, and a good thing too. He was skimming a load of money from us all. From all of us honest people. Overcharging us on our taxes and keeping the difference for himself. He was always flaunting his money around, showing off his new clothes and jewels. So I killed the bastard and left his body out there to rot, with all of his ill-gotten gold well on him. Sorry, this is no excuse for murder, and your punishment has been decided. You're one of them, huh? Come to kill me? Well, give it your best shot, Dark Elf. I've no problem spilling more of the blood of the Emperor's lackeys. My journal has been updated. Goodbye. Nope. That's a bit of a problem. Oh. No! The unarmed combat. Okay, I gotta get out of here. Oh, that's nice. I can make it. Oh boy, this is close.
You have something to say to me?
Yes?
There is no escape.
There's someone watching me. I can tell.
What do you want?
I heard you have been asking around about his murder. I'm glad to see this matter brought to its completion. Here's your reward.
Zegos.
Good to see that there are still some citizens who understand their loyalty to our emperor.
Speak, traveler.
Just trying to make myself at home. Being that this is a game of weight restriction, it gets awfully important where you put your stuff and how available it is to shops and vendors around you. Unfortunately, this fellow had to break the law, and that brought my attention here, so it's more a happy convenience, I suppose. but that any kind of place to store anything is very important in this game. I might need a mod that increases the saturation of light around it, and I don't exactly want to just up and leave the game right now, but I won't be gone very long. I'm gonna go back to my magic or my graphics extender application, so just hang tight with me, please, please, please. Do not go anywhere if anyone's watching. Also, I'll be able to check my messages this way. But the idea is, oh, I've already got 2 of you. Excellent. Okay, so I've got to open this up and make sure real quick in shaders that, no, that's not it. It's in-game, the lighting. Looks maximum. Let's play with it a little bit. Let's go down to 16 there. Constant lighting, dynamic. 2 distant plus equal linear. Morrowind defaults. Oh, I got you. Okay. Linear. Oh, well then let's turn linear right down then, so that it's only quadratic and constant lighting. Right. Okay. So I apologize about that. Let's get back into some Morrowind Marathon. I know that the noises can be a little bit loud and a little bit soft in this one. You gotta bear with me, it's a bit of an old game. But I'm sure that there are mods that I haven't experimented with that it doesn't really look like there's been any major improvement at all. I don't know, those candles are awfully detailed. Just putting some of the stuff down, some of the quest stuff that I've already dealt with. Couple of keys. Well, they don't take up any weight, that's okay. Coat of flower. Coat of flowers are always very pretty. Couple ampule pods. Just, you know, flowery decorations. Also, alchemy ingredients. Okay. More potions. A few good ones. I like to keep them for when I really, well, I might need to restore strength, actually. Because there's a lot of things that can take your strength away. So we'll take that. And a pretty light amount of potions, truly, that I have going on, so I'll have to go pick up some more. Alright. I don't really notice much of a difference at all, to be honest. But that's okay. We're just going to keep it as is. Huh? A little bit of decoration for me. What else we have? Just drop a big old kwama egg somewhere. Actually, I like to eat these things once in a while. This is the small kwama egg, as you can tell. God, wait till you see the large one. Plunk. Look at the size of that one. As it squishes the smaller ones. No. We're gonna do it like this. That's a pretty serious sized egg. Plunk. And... oh, I'm trying to avoid the clipping. Clipping's not fun. Ah. Sorry if this seems a bit tedious. I just, you do it right once and then you don't have to worry about it. Hey. With Morrowind, I mean, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, it's all about setting up the castle. There we go. It's all about designing the castle the way... it doesn't matter if it's a shack in Seydanine or if it's a fort in... Telvanni. I don't even know if they have forts. They just got big mushrooms. But yeah, dude, it's all about setting up the castle. That everything is available for you at all times instantly. Right now. Good. Okay. Some heather. Drop some heather down. Just some beautiful little flowers, huh? The local wildlife and fauna, of course. You gotta put it on display somewhat. Now that this is my place, you know what I mean? I gotta have a pillow. Gotta be ready for that, you know? Yeah, it's floating a little bit, but it doesn't exactly want to just do as it's commanded, so... let's... just pretend. Got a few things to sell. Slave bracers. Memories of Seydanine. Memories of Seydanine. Alright. Oh, and a bunch of chitin throwing stars. I want to keep those guys on me. How much do they weigh? Good for practice. They're not too much damage, but they are good for practice and enchanting. No, once a breadbasket, always a breadbasket. These guys deserve to be used for embers. What are they? What is it? Drain magic for 3 points on self. See, one day what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull those apart with enchanting, and I can reuse the effects for something, for possibly for different items. But I don't exactly want to drain magicka on self. No, that's not what we're into. I want to drain magicka on others. Okay. And I've got an extra set. Of course, you can sell this and make a lot of good money, and I'm sure that I will in the future as these guys keep coming at me. But I also like to keep plain vanilla sets for enchanting, and basically possibly working with them on other levels, right? That if you ever lose a part, or you've missed one, or you sold one, or whatever, that you have extra and spare kicking around. For the light armor set, I mean, yes, glass is the closest thing you're going to get to heavy, but there's nothing wrong and nor shameful of using just like chitin armor or something like iron armor and getting really good in that skill. It's going to be just nearly as good. The rest is basically splitting hairs. Okay. Let's sell some of this junk. Welcome to R. Isles Trade House. I bought it for goods or coin. I also have a small selection of spells for salt. No credit. Oh, for sale. No credit. You want a little advice? That's free. That's all that's free. Would you like to hear about our most popular potions? Our most popular scrolls? Cure common disease and cure blight disease potions are the most popular with travelers. Fortify strength, endurance, speed, agility are very helpful in combat. Fortify personality is popular with merchants and shy persons. Of course, Fortify fatigue keeps you fighting at your best. Restore health and restore fatigue are perhaps our most popular items. And for a short burst of power during a fight, you can't beat Grief, Sheen, Flynn, Masse, or Sujamma. Popular scrolls. Vigor and Vitality are our best-selling bargain items, restoring fatigue and health respectively. Alm-Civi Intervention and Divine Intervention transport you instantly to the nearest temples or nearest Imperial Shrine. Good for routine or emergency transportation. Heartwise helps with persuasion, Summon Skeletal Minion brings help out in a jiffy, and Drathy's Winter Guest does a lot of damage at a touch, handy to whittle a too tough opponent down to size. Yeah, might as well, because I can work with that spell later.
Welcome.
Like I said, I could make it a little bit darker. I've played with the lighting effects, but I think I'm going to need a mod in order to increase the ambient lighting if I really choose to. Now, it's an old game that's been rebuilt extensively using a lot of other tools. And one in particular that I've researched quite a bit is Open Morrowind, I believe, OpenMW. Looks like a lot of fun and a lot of promise, and it certainly is a true rendition of Morrowind, but yeah, you can play both games basically, and I believe Open Morrowind is free. I haven't really actually taken the time to look into it more than just surfacing, and trying to read about and listen to people talk about it. I play it from the Steam version, and that's the one I've only really gotten used to. It's such an old game that I haven't really been actively on the boards trying to mod it, and so even trying to mod it the way that I used to have it was difficult because some of those mods don't exactly have pages anymore, or that some of the modders have moved on to different projects. But usually there's somebody or someone out there who's got a good sweet mod list rocking, some kind of way to get you the files that you need. I know that it might seem a bit painful with the Morrowind combat system. This is all a necessary part of it. It's a role. I'm sure that anyone who watches Morrowind games or Elder Scrolls games, they know that the hit system it's a bit more detailed than the more modern games. There's a lot of history there, a lot of different ways, methods that games try, and in order to keep it congruent to a kind of a stats-based game, they generally have their own way of doing things. So it's not so entirely action-based. It's very skill-based, actually. That being said, I need to rest or these little fishes are going to destroy me with my low fatigue and low short blade skill. I like practicing on the fish. They're just meaty enough to take a bunch of hits, and yeah, they're just great for leveling.
Stay out of trouble and you won't get hurt. Let's hear it.
Speak quickly, Outlander, or go away.
Please.
Ah, skill was too low, so we gotta go to a town. Go get my blade fixed, possibly buy a few new ones. This is the seaport village of Satanin, Outlander, in the Bitter Coast region. I am Caravaner, and I am a Caravaner, and I manage the Siltstrider port here. Tell me your destination, if you're looking for a ride, or if you're new to Satanin, I can help you with local services, or any specific place in Satanin you're looking for, or if you want something, or if you want someone in particular, maybe I know where to look. I know all this stuff. Oh, it takes me to... I can take you by Siltstrider from Satanin to Balmorra, Vivek, Nisus, and Suran. Let's go to Balmorra.
Why walk when you can ride?
it just feels so like why even bother using these lights? They just burn out so quickly anyway. So I could try and mess around with the settings again. I think that's what I'm going to do. So apologies. I'm going to save. I'm going to try and just increase the lighting of objects, the ambient lighting. It's so low. I mean, it can't be. This can't be what this graphic extending mod has in terms of ambient lighting. I understand it brings in a lot of other kinds of lighting sources, which is cool. It's beautiful. But there's just something wrong with the way that the I don't know, maybe I do need a mod, in fact. Maybe I do need a mod for that kind of a thing. But just a second here. So, exposure reaction time. This controls how the HDR shader reacts to brightness changes. This value is approximately how long it takes to match camera exposure to the environment. Okay. Shader setup. Nope. No, we were already there. So, in-game, distant lands, exponential. Right here, quadratic. And the constant is 1,000. Okay, let's give that a go. Let's try and get back into the game. Okay. Autosave. It's fine. I mean, it's really only for when there's literally no light anyway, and even then it's like less than a flashlight. So buying that spell light is mandatory. Right. Okay. Yeah, it might seem like a little bit of alchemy junk, but you can always find a vendor who can make a few gold off that, and it's really, really light to carry, so I prioritize the alchemy ingredients. I am Nilano Dorvain. I keep business going here in Balmorra while the Lalu counselors are away, which is most of the time. Business. If you want to talk business, you've come to the right place. Do you want to join House Lalu? Lalu? Halalu? No. Lalu counselors. Here are a recent edition of the Yellow Book of Great House Lalu. It lists the current Lalu counselors and their residences. I might tell you more for a small consideration. Yellow Book of 3rd Era, 426 has been added to your inventory. Briber 50 drakes. The one you should speak to is Crassius Curio. His manor is in the Lalu Plaza in Vivek of the Lalu counselors. He is one of the most likely to listen to your requests, whatever they may be. Why, thank you. Drambero. I think he lives somewhere in Vivek. House Lalu. The Lalu counselors have conferred upon me the great honor of interviewing those who wish to become members of our illustrious house. Do you wish to join House Lalu? Nervina Ulez. She lives in Ulez Manor, near Soran. Just take the road north out of Soran, cross the bridge heading west, and look for a manor south of the road. Soran. It's a busy port on the north shore of Lake Masobi, in the northwest corner of the Ascadian Isles. You can get there by going east from Pelagia and around the north side of Dren Plantation. Following the roads east until you reach Soran, you can also take a silt strider there from Molagmar or Vivek. Omani Manor is on an island east of Vivek. You can get there by following the road east of Vivek, then south past Al Sotha, but it might be easier to just swim there from Vivek, which is a water city, so thank you for your time. Right there, concealment. Whew, that is a nice spell for a bargain, if you ask me. It's only 2 pages, so here we go. Gouliane's Architecture of the Second Empire. This is Guylaine Marle's outdated but entertainingly written and well-illustrated reference on the late Dwemer architecture. Excerpt is from the chapter describing the Second Empire style of approaches and defenses, and mentioning the common formal convention of the 4 tests. The book also mentions that the Telvanni have adopted the 4 tests convention as an aesthetic element in their defenses and approaches to their towers. The test of pattern requires the observer to examine and analyze for patterns before he acts, with the understanding that many patterns are subtle or hidden. The test of disorder requires the observer to proceed systematically when no pattern is perceived, when the observer recognizes that many things must be done in no specific order. The procedure is to perceive and order all the things to be done, and upon doing a thing to recall how and when that thing has been done. For example, the observer must remember the initial positioning of a thing, and also the new position of that thing. The test of evasion requires the observer to examine the obstacle and compare his resources and abilities. If the obstacle is too difficult, seek for a path around the difficulty. The test of confrontation requires the observer to examine the obstacle and compare his resources and abilities. If the obstacle is too difficult, look for a path around the difficulty. But if no path around can be found, confront the obstacle directly. What do you want? If you wish to join my house, speak with Nileno Dorvain at the house Lalu Council Manor, which is here.
Speak, traveler.
Greetings, citizen. I am Damar Dalomo. Welcome to... Sorry, just the text is just a little bit blurry for me to read sometimes. Anyway, welcome to Balmorra. We're at House Lalu Town. We're a House Lalu Town and loyal citizens of the Empire. What can I do for you? Background. I am Damar Dalomo, scout and lawman of the Great House Lalu. Balmorra. Balmorra is the council seat of Great House Lalu and the largest town on Vardenfell except for Vivek City, located on the Odai River and sitting astride the Ald-Rune Vivek Road. Balmorra is an important mercantile trade and travel center. Hightown is the administrative center, with the temple and manor houses, the shops, guilds, and trade houses of the commercial district are north of the river. Labor Town's modest corner clubs and homes are south of the river. Business. Citizens of the Empire. We've had peace and prosperity in Morrowind under the Empire for centuries. It's a government by law, and the legions enforce that law. The Empire is free trade and free religion, so we're rich in pockets and in spirit. Yes, there's corruption. Yes, there are crimes and criminals. Yes, the rich get richer and the poor poorer, but overall things are pretty good. Latest rumors. The Legion champion, Larius Varro, over at Moonmoth Legion 4, has sworn an oath to stop corruption. He hasn't had much luck going through official channels. The syndicates have got their people covered, coming and going. They'll never get anywhere working through that system. He's going to have to find someone who can get him around the system, or through the system, like straight and hard through the system. I wonder who that could be. Morrowind. Morrowind is the northeastmost province of Tamriel Empire, bounded on the north and east by the ocean, on the west by Skyrim, and the southwest by Cyrodiil, also known as the Imperial Province, and on the south by Blackmarsh, also known as Argonia. I'm a scout. This is his trade. I know places, people, plants, paths, wind, and weather. I serve as guide for travelers and traders, or work as advanced guard and pathfinder for expeditions. I know the geography of Vardenfell and the various geographic regions. My best defense is stealth, sneaking past trouble, but I can fight bow or blade in various armor styles when the job requires it. The River Odai flows through the center of Balmorra, to the east, to the coast near Lalu. Someone in particular. None of the Lalu councillors live in Balmorra. Nelino Deravine at the council hall is the ranking Lalu local. At the Fighters Guild, Idis Fireeye is the steward. Ithasi Rilvain is the Morag Tong steward. Edredo Sadri is the steward for the Balmorra Tribunal Temple. Sugar Lips Hibasi is the local Thieves Guild boss. Who am I missing? Oh, Mages Guild. Ranis Athrise is their steward. Specific place. Balmorra is a big town. Think in terms of districts. Hightown, on the hill to the west, has the temple, Lalu Council Hall, rich manors, better shops, and the Morag Tong. The commercial district, just west of the river, has the Fighters Guild and the Mages Guild, shops and inns. Labor Town, east of the river, is where the commoners and poor live, has only the South Wall Corn Club, Fort Moonmoth, southeast of the town, houses the Legion's garrison and the Imperial cult. Roads south lead to Pelagiad, Seydanine, and Vivek. Silt Strider services goes to Seydanine, Ald-Rune, Siran, and Vivek. Roads north lead to Caldera and Ald-Rune. Guild guides at the Mages Guild can teleport you to Ald-Rune, Vivek, Caldera, and Sadrith Mora for a fee. Tla-Ode is southwest on the coast. There's no trail, and it's easy to get lost. The only route to Ghostgate is via Foyada Maimata. Vardenfell. Vardenfell District is one of the 6 imperial administrative districts of Morrowind, consisting of an island of Vardenfell and surrounded by the inland sea and dominated by the titanic volcano Red Mountain and its associated ash wastelands. I see. Thank you.
Quickly, Outlander. I haven't much time.
First the vision, then the conjuration. This is unsettling.
Probably nothing.
Alright, just have another sip of coffee and we will continue on with the journey. I appreciate you guys sticking in here this long, just being silent there in the background. Mostly a test. I think at this point, Morrowind is really just ad hoc. I have no idea how well the game's going to run in the future, which is quite common, actually. I'm sorry for your dilemma over there. But it's common with Morrowind. The game has a lot of modern issues as well as old issues.
Clearly he was wrong, yet I do think he meant well.
There's someone watching me. I can tell.
And now the journey continues. Sorry guys, just had to do some laundry. I hope you guys don't mind me reading through and getting pretty visceral with all this. It's really more about bringing Morrowind in a palpable experience to a wider audience. I played this game long ago and got very, very far into it, but never finished it, so it will be a first for everyone when I do, for those who are true and watch this stream with no ill intentions of spoiling anything, for they are true. The True Noble's Code. The True Noble's Code by Sergio Athian Serethi. No, we're not going to read this. Sorry, guys. We're putting it back down. Varieties of Faith. This one I think I will read. I hadn't actually seen this one before. Varieties of Faith in the Empire by Brother Mikhail Karkuksar of the Imperial College. This is my best attempt at listing the pantheon's associated divine spirits of Tamriel's dominant cultures. This list is by no means complete. The imperial city of Cyrodiil alone boasts a vast host of saints and holy spirits. It only includes the most important spirits revered by native members of the culture. Other et ada, especially Daedra, are often familiar known to many cultures. Those specific names are included here only when they possess a particular cultural significance. The omission of any reference to the worships of the Argonians of Black Marsh is a result of my complete inadequacy in reconciling the obscure and contradictory accounts available to me on that subject. The 8 Pantheons. Cyrodiil, Akatosh, Dibella, Arkay, Zenithar, Mara, Stendar, Kinnereth, Julianos, Shezar, Tiber Septim, Morra House, Riemann. Skyrim, Alduin, Dibella, Orkay, Sun, Mara, Stun, Kain, Junal, Shor, Ysmir, Hermamora, Malok. Altmer, Ariel, Trinimac, Magnus, Sirabane, Yifri, Xarces, Mara, Stendar, Lorcan, Finaster. Bosmer, Ariel, Yifre, Arke, Zen, Xarces, Bandar, Mara, Stendar, Lorcan, Herma Mora, Shon, and Jode. Quite a few more, actually. The Dunmer, Almalexia, Vivek, Solthasil, Boethia, Mafala, Azura, Lorcan, Nerevar, Molegbal, Malakanth, Sheograth, Merun's Dagon. Yokuda, Satakal, Ruptka, Tuwaka, Zet, Morwa, Tava, Malok, Diagna, Set, Hunding, Liki, Onsi, Brittany, Akatosh, Magnus, Yifre, Dibella, Arkay, Zenithar, Mara, Stendar, Kinnereth, Julianos, Shior, and Finaster. Elsewhere. This is the Catland. Akatosh, Kenarthi, Riddlethar, Jakaje, Mara, Surendar, Orkaj, Rajin, Bandar, Azura, Sheggorath. Notes on the divine spirits of the pantheons. Akatosh, dragon god of time. Akatosh is the chief deity of the 9 divines, the major religious cults of Cyrodiil and its provinces, and one of the 2 deities found in every Tamarielic religion. The other is Lorcan. He is generally considered to be the first of the gods to form in the beginning place. After his establishment, other spirits found the process of being easier, and the various pantheons of the world emerged. He is the ultimate god of the Cyrodiilic Empire, where he embodies the qualities of endurance, invincibility, and everlasting legitimacy. Alduin, the World Eater. Alduin is the Nordic variation of Akatosh, and only superficially resembles his counterpart in the 9 divines. For example, Alduin's sobriquet, the World Eater, comes from myths that depict him as the horrible, ravaging firestorm that destroyed the last world to begin this one. Nords therefore see the god of time as both creator and harbinger of the apocalypse. He is the chief of the Nordic pantheon. In fact, the pantheon has no chief, see shore below, but its wellspring, albeit a grim and frightening one. Alkosh, dragon king of cats. Pre-Eredata dynasty, Anaquin deity. Anaquinine, a variation on the Altmeri Ariel, and thus an Akatosh as culture hero from the earliest Khajiiti. His worship was so co-opted during the establishment of the Riddlethar, and he still enjoys immense popularity in Elsewhere's wasteland region. He is depicted as a fearsome dragon, a creature that the Khajiit say is just a real big cat. He repelled an early Aldmeri pogrom of perennial whitestrake during mythic times. Almalexia, Mother Morrowind. Most traces of Akatosh disappeared from ancient Chimer legends during their so-called exodus, primarily due to that god's association and esteem with Eldmeri. However, most aspects of Akatosh which seem so important to the mortal races, namely immortality, historicity, and genealogy, have conveniently resurfaced in Almalexia, the most popular of Morrowind's divine tribunal. Arche, god of the cycle of life and death. Member of the Nine Divines pantheon and popular elsewhere as well, Arche is often more important in those cultures where his father, Akatosh, is either less related to time or where his time aspects are difficult to comprehend by the layman. He is the god of burials and funeral rites, and is sometimes associated with the seasons. His priests are staunch opponents of necromancy and all forms of the undead. It is said that Arche did not exist before the world was created by the gods under Lorkhan's supervision, urging trickery. Therefore, he is sometimes called the mortal's god. Ariel, king of the Eldmer. The elven Akatosh is Ariel. Ariel is the soul of Anuel, who, in turn, is the soul of Anu, the everything. He is the chief of most Eldmeri pantheons. Most Eldmeri and Bosmeri claim direct descendant from Ariel. In his own known moment of weakness, he agreed to take his part in the creation of the mortal plane, that act which forever sundered the elves from the spirit world of eternity. To make up for it, Ariel led the original Eldmeri against the armies of Lorkhan in mythical times, vanquishing that tyrant and establishing the first kingdoms of the Eldmer, Balmorra, and Old Elnafey. He then ascended to the heaven in full observance of his followers so that they might learn the steps needed to escape the mortal plane. Azura, goddess of dawn, dusk and dawn. Azura was the god ancestor that taught the Chimer the mysteries needed to be different than the Eldmer. Some of her more conventional teachings are sometimes attributed to Boethia. In the stories, Azura is often a communal cosmic force for the race as a whole than an ancestor or a god. Also known as the anticipation of Sotha-Sil. And elsewhere, Azura is nearly a wholly separate entity, yet she is still tied to the origins of Khajiit out of Eldmeri stock. Bandar, the bandit god. In most regions, Bandar is a marginal deity, a trickster spirit of thieves and beggars. And elsewhere he is more important, and is regarded as the pariah. In this aspect, Bandar becomes the cleverness or desperate genius of the long-suffering Khajiit, whose last-minute plans always upset the machinations of their elven or human enemies. Bandar. Boethia, prince of plots. Heralded by the prophet Veloth, Boethia is the original god ancestor of the Dark Elves, though his illuminations, the eventual Chimer, or changed folk, renounced all ties to the Eldmer and founded a new nation based on Daedric principles. All manner of Dark Elven cultural advances are attributed to Boethia, from philosophy to magic to responsible architecture. Ancient Velothi allegories are uniformly heroic successes of Boethia over the enemies of every type. Foundation stories of Chimeri struggles, also known as the anticipations of Almalexia. Diagna, or Chale, god of the sideways blade. Hoary thuggish cult of the Red Guards originated in Yokuda during the 27 snake folk slaughter. Diagna was an avatar of the Hunding, the Yokudan god of Makeway, see below, that achieved permanence. He was instrumental to the defeat of the left-handed elves, as he brought Orchalk weapons to the Yokudan people to win the fight. In Tamriel, he led a very tight-knit group of followers against the orcs of Orsinium during the height of their ancient power, but then faded into obscurity. He is now little more than a local power spirit of the Dragontail Mountains. That guy has an interesting story, really. The left-handed elves. Diagna. Interesting. Dibella, goddess of beauty. Popular god of the Nine Divines. In Syrio, she has nearly a dozen different cults. Some devoted to women, some to artists and aesthetics, and others to erotic instruction. Gotcha. Morrowind, the Woodland Man. Ancient Admoran demon who at one time nearly seduced the Nords into becoming Aldmer. Most Year's Grimoire myths are about escaping the wilds of old Morra, also called the Demon of Knowledge. He is vaguely related to the cult origins of the Morag Tong, Foresters Guild, if only by association with his brother, sister Mfala. Hunding, the Make-Way God. Sounds like pretty serious business. Anyway, Yokudan spirit of preservance over infidels. The Hunding was historically materialized whenever the Redguards need to make way for their people. In Tamrielic history, this has only happened 3 times. Twice in the First Era during the Ragada invasion, and once during the Tiber War. In this last incarnation, the Hunding was said to have been either a sword or a crown, or both. Junal, Rune God, the Nordic god of hermetic orders. After falling out of favor with the rest of the pantheon, he became Julianos of the 9 divines. He is absent in most modern Skyrim mythology. I'm starting to pick up kind of a theme from the Skyrim, just from the two, the Morrowind story and the Junal story. It appears that the Skyrim pantheon, they do not like when they spill their secrets to non-Skyrims. It seems that that's a one-way ticket to get you booted out of the pantheon. Perhaps just an assumption, I don't know. Anyway, let's continue reading. Jode, Big Moon God. Aldmeri God of the Big Moon, also known as also called Masser or Mara's Tyr in Khajiiti religion. Jode is only one aspect of the lunar lattice, or Jakajay. Joan, Little Moon God. Aldmeri God of the Little Moon, also called Secunda or Stendar's Sorrow. In Khajiiti religion, Joan is only one aspect of the lunar lattice, or Jakajay. Julianos, God of wisdom and logic, often associated with Junal, the Nordic fathers of language and mathematics. Interesting, right? Julianos is the Cyrodiilic god of literature, law, history, and contradiction. Monastic orders founded by Tiber Septim and dedicated to Julianos are the keepers of the Elder Scrolls. Kine, kiss at the end. Nordic goddess of the storm, widow of shore and favored god of warriors. She is often called the mother of men. Her daughter taught the first Nords to use the Thum, or storm voice. Kynareth, goddess of air. Kynareth is a member of the 9 divines, the strongest of the sky spirits. In some legends, she is the first to agree to Lorkhan's plan to invent the mortal plane, and provides the space for its creation in the void. She is also associated with rain, a phenomenon said not to occur before the removal of Lorkhan's divine spark. Leki, saint of the spirit sword. Goddess daughter of Tal Papa. Leki is the goddess of aberrant swordsmanship. The Na Totambu of Yokuda warred to a standstill during the mythic era to decide who would lead the charge against the left-handed elves. Their swordmasters, though, were so skilled in the best-known cuts as to be matched evenly. Leki introduced the ephemeral feint. Afterwards, a victor emerged and the war with the Aldmer begun. Lorkhan, the missing god. This creator, trickster, tester deity is in every Tamrielic mythic tradition. His most popular name is the Aldmeri Lorkhan, or Doom Drum. He convinced or contrived the original spirits to bring about the creation of the mortal plane, upsetting the status quo, much like his father Padme had introduced instability into the universe in the beginning place. After the world was materialized, Lorkhan is separated from his divine center, sometimes involuntarily, and wanders the creation of the Et Ada. He and his metaphysical placement in the scheme of things is interpreted a variety of ways. In Morrowind, for example, he is a being related to the Psychic Endeavor, a process by which mortals are charged with transcending the gods that created them. To the High Elves, he is the most unholy of all high powers, as he forever broke their connection to his spirit plane. In the legends, he is almost always an enemy of the Altmer and therefore a hero of early mankind. Lorkhan, Lorkhaj, Moonbeast, Preredata Dynasty Anaquinine deity, easily identified with the missing god Lorkhan. Magnus, the god of sorcery. Magnus withdrew from the creation of the world at the last second, though it cost him dearly. What is left of him on the world is felt and controlled by mortals as magic. One story says that while the idea was thought up by Lorkhan, it was Magnus who created the schematics and diagrams needed to construct the mortal plane. He is sometimes represented by an astrolabe, a telescope, or more commonly, a staff. Cyrodiilic legends say he can inhabit the bodies of powerful magicians and lend them his power, associated with Zurin Arctus, the Underking. Malakanth, god of curses. Malakath is the reanimated dung that was Trinimac. A somewhat weak but vengeful Daedra. The Dark Elves say he is also Malak, the god king of the orcs. He always tests the Dunmer for physical weakness. Maluk, Horde King, an enemy god of Ragata, led the goblins against the Redguard during the First Era, fled east when the armies of the Hunding overtook the goblin hordes. Yikes, he's a goblin. Moloch, Malakanth, an orcish god. Oh, I suppose it's all the same Malakanth, I got you. So this is from a different perspective. I'm just reading. Maluk, Horde King, an enemy god of the Ragata, led the goblins against the Redguard during the First Era. They talking about the orcs? Maybe orcs and goblins were considered one and the same. Moloch, Malakath, an orcish god. Moloch troubled the heirs of King Harold for a long time. Fled east after his defeat at the Battle of Dragon Wall, circa 1 Era 660. His rage was said to fill the sky with his sulphurous hatred, later called the Year of Winter and Summer. Mara, goddess of love, nearly universal goddess. Origin started in mythic times as a fertility goddess. In Skyrim, Mara is handmaiden of Kine. In the Empire, she is mother goddess. She is sometimes associated with Nirn of the Anuad, the female principle of the cosmos that gave birth to creation. Depending on the religion, she is either married to Akatosh or Lorkhan, or the concubine of both. Mehrunes Dagon, god of destruction. Popular Daedric power. He is associated with natural dangers like fire, earthquakes, and floods. In some cultures, though, Dagon is merely a god of bloodshed and betrayal. He is especially important deity in Morrowind, where he represents its near inhospitable terrain. Mafala, Endrogine. Mafala is the web spinner, or the spider god. In Morrowind, she was the ancestor that taught the Chimer the skills they would need to evade their enemies, or to kill them with secret murder. Enemies were numerous in those days since the Chimer were a small faction. She, along with Boethia, organized the clan systems that eventually became the basis for the great houses. She founded the Morag Tong, also called the Anticipations of Vivek. Molag Bal, god of schemes, king of rape. Daedric power of much importance in Morrowind. There, he is always the archenemy of Boethia, the prince of plots. He is the main source of the obstacles to the Dunmer and preceding Chimer people. In the legends, Molag Bal always tries to upset the bloodlines of houses or otherwise ruin Dunmeri purity. A race of super monsters said to live in Molag Amur are the result of his seduction of Vivek during the previous era. Morhaus, first breath of man. Ancient cultural hero god of the Sino-Nordics. Legend portrays him as the taker of the citadel, an act of mythic times that established human control over the valley heartland. He is often associated with the Nordic powers of Thum and therefore with Kinnereth. Morwa, teeth god, Yokudan fertility goddess, fundamental deity in the Yokudan pantheon, and the favorite of Tall Papa's wives. Still worshipped in various areas of Hammerfell, including Strais Macabre, Morwa is always portrayed as four-armed, so that she can grab more husbands. Nerevar, God Killer. The Chimeri King of Resdain, the Golden Age of Veloth, slain during the Battle of Red Mountain. Nerevar was the herald of the Triune Way, and is the foremost of the saints of the Dunmeri faith. He is said to have killed Dunmak, the last Dwarven king, and feasted on his heart. Onsi, Bone Shaver, notable warrior god of the Okudan Ragada. Onsi taught mankind how to pull their knives into swords. Orke, Old Knocker, a lone god of the Nords, who seems to have taken up his worship during Aldmeri rule of Atmora. Nords believed they once lived as long as elves until Orke appeared. Through heathen trickery, he fooled them into bargaining that bound them to the Count of Winters. At one time, legend says, Nords only had a lifespan of 6 years due to Orke's foul magic. Shor showed up, though, and through unknown means removed the curse, throwing most of it onto the nearby orcs. Finaster, hero god of the Somerset Isles, who taught the Eldmer how to naturally live another 100 years by using a shorter walking stride. Rajit, Footpad, thief god of the Khajiit, who grew up in the Black Kiergo section of Shanshal, the most famous burglar in Elsewhere's history. Rajin is said to have stolen a tattoo from the neck of Empress Kintara as she slept. Riemann, the Cyrodiil, culture god hero of the Second Empire. Riemann was the greatest hero of the Akaviri Trouble. Indeed, he convinced the invaders to help him build his own empire and conquered all of Tamriel except for Morrowind. He instituted the rites of becoming emperor, which include the ritual Gias to the Amulet of Kings and Soul Gem of immense power. His dynasty was ended by the Dunmeri Morag Tong at the end of the First Era, also called the Worldly God. Riddlethar, Two Moons Dance, the cosmic order deity of the Khajiiti. The Riddlethar was revealed to elsewhere by the prophet Ridthar Ridata, the Main. The Riddlethar is more a set of guidelines by which to live than a single entity, but some of his avatars like to appear as humble messengers of the gods, also known as Sugar God, as the Sugar God. Interesting, interesting. Ruptka, Tall Papa. Oh, okay. Chief deity of the Okudan pantheon. Ruptka, more commonly Tall Papa, was the first god to figure out how to survive the hunger of Satakal. Following his lead, the other gods learned to walk about, or a process by which they can persist beyond one lifetime. Tall Papa set the stars in the sky to show lesser spirits how to do this, too. When there were too many spirits to keep track of, though, Ruptka created a helper out of the skin of past worlds. This helper is Sep, see below, who later creates the world of mortals. Satakal, the world skin. Yakudan god of everything. A fusion of the concepts of Anu and Padme. Basically, Satakal is much like the Nordic Alduin, who destroys one world to begin the next. In Yakudan mythology, Satakal had done, and still does, this many times over. A cycle which prompted the birth of spirits that could survive the transition. These spirits ultimately became the Yakudan pantheon, popular gods of the Alakir nomads. Sheogorath, the mad god. The fearful obeisance of Sheogorath is widespread. I'm not too sure how to pronounce that word. Is that Obeisanc? Okay, just a second. I'm going to look that up. See what that means. It says when you're talking about Sheogorath, it's really good to get the nuances, the details of what they're truly trying to say. A mad god, after all, relishes in the nuances, the minor details which they can exploit for their own crazy, maniacal needs. Yep. It's obeisance, deferential respect. A gesture expressing deferential respect, such as a bow or courtesy. The fearful obeisance of Sheogorath is widespread, and is found in most Tamrielic quarters. Contemporary sources indicate that his roots are in Aldmeri creation stories. Therein, he is born when Lorkhan's divine spark is removed. One crucial myth calls him the Sithis-shaped whole of the world. Sithis. Sithis is I believe the god of the void, as far as I remember. Shior, bad man. In Brittany, the bad man is the source of all strife. He seems to have started as the god of crop failure, but most modern theologians agree that he is a demonized version of the Nordic Shor, born during the dark years after the fall of Sarthal. Sep, the snake. Yokudan version of Lorkhan. Sep is born when Tall Papa creates someone to help him regulate the spirit trade. Sep, though, is driven crazy by the hunger of Satakal, and he convinces some of the gods to help him make an easier alternative to the walkabout. This, of course, is the world as we know it, and the spirit who follows Sep become trapped here to live out their lives as mortals. Sep is punished by Tall Papa for his transgressions, but his hunger lives on as a void in the stars, a non-space that tries to upset mortal entry into the far shores. That's a brutal story, really. The snake. I can understand, really, that it was this individual's job to keep like an angel that betrayed, right? If you could imagine. I don't mean to seem so sacrilegious, but this game is steeped in a lot of tradition and myth, and that's probably as close to the Lucifer myth as I will ever see. At least in Morrowind. But I'm sure that Morrowind, or rather the Elder Scrolls, borrows from a lot of religions. We'll probably see the whole world take a share in this game. But that's neither here nor there. This is Morrowind. Anyway, I digress. Shazar, god of man. Cyrodiilic versions of Lorkhan, whose importance suffers when Akatosh comes to the fore of imperial, really Alessian religion. Shazar was the spirit behind all human undertaking, especially against Aldmeri aggression. He is sometimes also associated with the founding of the first Cyrodiilic battle mages. In the present age of racial tolerance, Shazar is all but forgotten. Shor, god of the underworld. Nordic version of Lorkhan, who takes sides with men after the creation of the world. Foreign gods, i.e. the elven ones, conspire against him and bring about his defeat, dooming him to the underworld. Atmoran myth depict him as a bloodthirsty warrior king who leads the Nords to victory over their Aldmeri oppressors time and again. Before his doom, Shor was the chief of the gods, sometimes also called children's gods. Children's god. See Orke above. Sothasil, mystery of Morrowind. God of the Dunmer. Sothasil is the least known of the divine tribunal. He is said to be reshaping the world from his hidden clockwork city. Stendarr, god of mercy. God of the Nine Divines. Stendarr has evolved from his Nordic origins into a deity of compassion, or sometimes righteous rule. He is said to have accompanied Tiber Septim in his later years. In early Altmeri legends, Stendarr is the apologist of men. Stun, god of ransom. Nordic precursor to Stendarr, brother of Sun. Shield Thane of Shor. Stun was a warrior god that fought against the Aldmeri pantheon. He showed men how to take, and the benefit of taking, prisoners of war. Sirabane, warlock's god. An Aldmeri god ancestor of magic, Sirabane aided Bendu Olo in the fall of the Slode. Through judicious use of his magical ring, Sirabane saved many from the scourge of the Thracian plague. He is also called the Apprentice's god, for he is a favorite of the younger members of the Mages Guild. Tava, bird god. Yokudan, spirit of the air. Tava is most famous for leading the Yokudans to the Isle of Herne after the destruction of their homeland. She has since become assimilated into the mythology of Kinnereth. She is still very popular in Hammerfell among sailors, and her shrines can be found in most port cities. Tiber Septim, Talos, the Dragonborn, heir to the seat of sundered kings. Tiber Septim is the most important hero god of mankind. He conquered all of Tamriel and ushered in the Third Era and the Third Empire, also called Ysmir, Dragon of the North. Trinimac, strong god of the early Eldmer. In some places more popular than Ariel. He was a warrior spirit of the original elven tribes that led armies against the men. Boethia is said to have assumed his shape. In some stories, he even eats Trinimac, so that he could convince a throng of Altmer to listen to him, which led to their eventual Chimer conversion. He vanishes from mythic stage after this, to return as Dread Malakath. Altmeri propaganda portrays this as the dangers of Dunmeri influence. Soon, extinct Nordic god of trials against adversity, died defending shore from foreign gods. Tuatha, trickery god. Yakuden god of souls. Tuatha, before the creation of the world, was the god of nobody really cares. When Taupapa undertook the creation of the Walkabout, Tuatha found a purpose. He became the caretaker of the far shores, and continues to help Redguards find their way into the afterlife. His cult is sometimes associated with Arkay in the more cosmopolitan regions of Hammerfell. Vivek, master of Morrowind. Warrior poet god of the Dunmer, Vivek is the invisible keeper of the Holy Land, ever vigilant against the dark gods of the volcano. She has saved the Dunmeri people from certain death on numerous occasions, most notably when she taught them how to breathe water for a day so that he could flood Morrowind and kill the Akaviri invaders. Xarxes. Xarxes is the god of ancestry and secret knowledge. He began as a scribe to Ariel and has kept track of all Aldmeri accomplishments, large and small. Since the beginning of time, he created his wife, Ogma, from his favorite moments in history. Y'ffre, god of the forest, most important deity of the Bosmeri pantheon. While Ariel, time dragon, might be the king of the gods, the Bosmer revere Y'ffre as the spirit of the now. According to the Wood Elves, after the creation of the mortal plane, everything was in chaos. The first mortals were turning into plants and animals and back again. Then Y'ffre transformed himself into the first of the Elnafey, or Earthbones. After these laws of nature were established, mortals had a semblance of safety in the new world, because they could finally understand it. Y'ffre is sometimes called the storyteller, for the lessons he taught the first Bosmer. Some Bosmer still possess the knowledge of the Chaos times, which they can use to great effect, the Wild Hunt. Very curious. The Bosmer have a extremely interesting pantheon. It seems like it has so much more meaning and mystery to it. Ysmir, Dragon of the North, the Nordic aspect of Talos. He withstood the power of the Greybeard's voice long enough to hear their prophecy. Later, many Nords could not look upon him without seeing a dragon. Zen, god of toil. Bosmeri gods of payment in kind. Studies indicate origins in both Argonian and Akaviri mythologies, perhaps introduced into Valen Wood by Kothringi sailors. Ostensibly an agricultural deity, Zen sometimes proves to be an entity of a much higher cosmic order. His worship died out shortly after the Knaten flew. Zet, god of farms. Yakuden, god of agriculture. Renounced his father after the world was created, which is why Tall Papa makes it so hard to grow food. Zenithar, god of work and commerce, trader god. Member of the Nine Divines, Zenithar is understandably associated with Zen. In the Empire, however, he is far more cultivated god of merchants and middle nobility. His worshippers say, despite his mysterious origins, Zenithar is the god that will always win. What a story. What a story. I appreciate you guys still... Oh, I've lost one of you. I appreciate you guys hanging in with me. This was supposed to be a loot run, but you know, Morrowind lore.
What do you want?
Now who might you be? Was it the latest rumors you were looking for, Zagos? If not, I'll be happy to tell you anything I know about Balmorra, or any other Morrowind lore.
Quickly, Outlander. I haven't much time.
I don't believe I've seen a dark elf with such a grand outfit in some time. How may I help you? Background. You may call me Gillan Sidas. What I do is my own affair. I'm an assassin. Killing is my profession. I am discreet, efficient, and reliable. In Morrowind, the assassin's trade is an ancient and honorable profession, restricted by a rigid code of conduct and operating strictly within the law. Because I am discreet, I prefer short blades for swift, close, and personal work, while the marksman weapons, like throwing stars and throwing knives, are more suitable for stealth and surprise. I charge fair prices to train apprentices in the assassin's skills. Little secret. Never take a life carelessly. It cheapens you and diminishes you. Take life seriously, if taking life is your own profession. Little advice. The easiest way to get started is to join a guild. Do their jobs. Earn your way up the ranks. Get the discounts, training, and other services. Gets you out and around Vardenfell. A little at a time. Get to know the country and the people. The guild takes an interest in you, doesn't send you over your head. The Fighters Guild and the Legion, anyway. The Mages Guild is another story. Some old chair polisher doesn't have a clue what they're sending you into. Doesn't much care.
I will listen, Outlander, but make it quick.
Oh, I see. So it's just 2 pages. The Black Glove. Swift and agile are the Morag tongue. Silent and unseen they move. Illusions they supply to misdirect their prey. Close and sure and strike with short blade, or distant and secure they strike from afar with accurate missile fire. Light armor protects them from harm, and the acrobatic discipline finds for them the unseen and unlooked for path. Have you these virtues? Then perhaps your oath and services may please the Morag tongue. Do you have your friends and your finery, but no place to go? Do you laugh and cry, but no longer feel? Do you wear these masks? Then perhaps your oath and service may please the Black Glove. Blood of the hunter and the blood of the hunted, the joy of the hidden and the joy of the seeker, the blood of the eye and the blood of the gate, the joy of the living and the joy of the dead. Are you one with these things? Then perhaps your oath and service may please Mephala. To make your oath and enter our service, the worthy must seek the Grand Master, who by tradition lives in the unseen and unlooked-for corners of Vivec City, between the blood and battle and the waters of life. So, your name is Zagos, and you're new here in Balmorra. Well, my name is Shamnar Pansamasi. Pansamsi. And I don't, sorry. Shanmat Pansamsi. And I don't mind answering questions. I have nothing else on my mind right now. And if I start to bore you about Morrowind lore, just let me know. Yeah. Morrowind lore. The Morag Tong are honorable, law-abiding executioners and assassins. They hate the Dark Brotherhood, the outlaw Western Assassins Guild. The Dark Brotherhood is a depraved version of the ancient law-abiding order of the Morag Tong. They do not advertise their services or their creed, but they are outlawed secret society of assassins with an evil reputation and are often associated with Daedra worship. The Morag Tong is the sworn enemy of the Dark Brotherhood. The Morag Tong is the ancient traditional assassins guild of the Dunmer. We provide these varieties of execution, public, private, and house war. We only recruit candidates of proven skill and honor, and only Grandmaster Eno Lalu in Vivek can authorize new members to join the Morag Tong.
Go ahead.
If you want something, now's the time to talk.
Welcome, Zagos. What brings you to the Morag Tong? You are the, Oh, she sells spells. Faction members only, Dark Elf. Morrowind lore. Within the Ghost Fence, on the Red Mountain slopes, and in its crater, the weather is always blighted and gloomy.
My time is precious, so make it quick.
As you can tell, I can't exactly just see the lock level. I've made it a little bit more difficult than that. So, you know, it's a bit more like, I suppose a bit more realistic. Simple decisions like that can make it so that, like, I don't know that I can just keep trying to pick the lock. I'll have to come back later, you know? It's a long game. Morrowind is a game of stride. So, I have a feeling that won't be the last time I see that door either. So I know that my mission was to get things repaired, and I know just the man to help me with that.
Okay,
I'm
I'm
listening.
listening.
Fresh game.
Where would you like to go? There's someone watching me. I can tell.
Important notes, I suppose. I won't read all the names of The counselors. Counselor affairs of note. King Lalu Lethan, High Counselor and Lord of Morrowind, grants relief to merchants complaining of high tariffs on imported alcoholic beverages. The council is pleased to report a reduction in the incidence of theft and violent crime in Lalu House districts, thanks to vigilance of the legions and stern sentences by the magistrates. The council laments the unfortunate disturbances of the public peace resulting from the increasingly aggressive competition between the Thieves Guild and the Kamana Tong for the control of the black markets. A minor tax revolt in Balmorra was suppressed without undue harm to life and property. The council sent deputations to the Duke to express their concerns of the high tax rates and the injurious effect of high tariffs on trade. Quality restore intelligence. Okay. Quality restore speed. Keep that one. Quality restore willpower. Exclusive restore speed. Good thing they don't weigh very much at all. Quality restore strength, exclusive, and travel lantern. And get things nice and shiny right there. Boom, nice and shiny. Nice and shiny. All right. Couple eggs. I got 4 eggs on me. You know where the eggs go, right? You know, just remember that in Morrowind, when somebody says grab a few eggs, then you should bring a few people with you. All right. Good thing these are the small sized ones. Just a few. Oh no, we got some clipping. No, I can't have any clipping. No. Okay, something like that. Alright. Just pile them on, huh? Well, no, and then there, and then like that. There you go. So it doesn't look too crazy. It looks like a big old bundle of eggs. These things are just so bloody huge, you know? There we go. A nice, naturally arrayed bundle of eggs that probably weigh about 80 pounds. We got. Let's drop off my ingredients. Now I know that I really just actually started. Well, it's already been 2 hours. Oh my god, that's Morrowind for you. I'm thinking I'm gonna have to take another break, guys. I've got some business to attend to. But whether it be tonight or later on soon, I will continue on with the saga. I apologize if mostly this session was just reading. The experience of Morrowind is a fully immersive experience. It requires that the player simply do these things, and so come on in, guys, the water's fun. But anyway, I'm gonna have a nap, and that saved my game. So this is I mean, it was his house, so I'm generally gonna leave him there until, you know, one of the divines takes him away, which will happen eventually. So, as a reminder, I suppose that this home isn't exactly mine, that I might need to find new lodging soon enough. However, it will do for the temporary, and for my purposes. Which is to acquire a massive fortune. But until then, guys, I will catch you later. Stay very safe, and thanks